Hello and welcome back. If you enjoy our videos, please like and subscribe to follow our adventure. Today, we are motoring over to a friend's marina to visit for the day.
It's ethanol free.
Oh,
It doesn't mean the gas is free.
oh, okay.
I wish.
We're recording.
Yep.
Hello. Hey, am I allowed to say something?
You can, but you'd have to come out here for them to hear it.
Ready?
Go ahead.
You're motoring. What's your price for flights? And finding Mr. Right, you'll be alright tonight. Sister Christian, know the time has come, and you know that you're the only one to sail. It's true, yeah, motoring. Goodbye. That's partake. Now we're gonna get viewers.
The rest of our trip was almost uneventful. We have one mishap, which I will point out here later. Under motor, we travel at right about 6 to 7 miles per hour depending on the wind direction. And we have a 5-gallon tank of fuel, which we used right at a half a tank to get there. At this point in the trip, we are passing Park Marina and Allatoona Dam. Park Marina is one of the more popular marinas on the lake. Here, we pull into a cove in order to drop the mast on the boat so that we can pass underneath Red Top Mountain Bridge. This here is where the mishap occurred. I was lowering the mast using bungee cords on either side in order to keep the boom upright once the mast was fully down. The mast was down just fine, but I tried to raise it a few inches so that I could put it into its cradle, and while attempting to raise it, one of the bungee cords broke and lost its strength, and the boom fell over into the water. It bent the clip that held the boom, and we were able to fix it easily, but it was not fun nonetheless. My voiceover recording might be a little bit jumpy during these videos. When I speed up the videos, it tends to make it jumpy. This here is a sped up video 16 times of our cruising back from our friend's marina on the same path that we went to the marina. Here we are moving from his marina towards Red Top Mountain Bridge. I stopped the recording shortly after passing underneath Red Top Mountain Bridge. The trip back was uneventful and rather cold and wet because there were small showers in the area and the air was damp and windy.
Hello. I'm here on the boat today to take care of some general maintenance issues and a few specific major issues that are cropping up on the boat now since we are actually starting to use it. In the previous video, you saw that we went for a 7-mile cruise, motor cruise, down to a friend's boat and spent the day with him. That 7-mile cruise put a lot of stress on the stern of the boat because we have a stern-mounted outboard engine. This boat is not designed to have an engine hanging on the stern, and it is now starting to form cracks because of that. So let me just show you what's going on. There's two specific problems that I'm wanting to fix today, and that is trying to shore up the cracks in the stern until I can get that more permanently repaired, and also the screws on our aft railing have rattled out with the vibrations of the engine. So let me go show you those real quick. Here is one of the cracks on the stern. Here you can see it's on the back wall of the stern. They're not major cracks, but I definitely do want to get them taken care of before they become major issues. There's one crack, and here's the other crack on the other side of the engine at the engine mount. What I plan to do today is I have some metal angle steel, and I will clamp that here in order to help take some weight off the areas that are cracking. More permanently, I plan to cut out this entire section and refiberglass it with probably a block of wood, fiberglass and epoxy all the way around, and hopefully that would be enough to stop the cracking. If any more experienced boaters have other ideas, I am open to them. The other issue is this here. Our railing has detached from the stern wall. Not sure if you can see it there, but I plan on putting a couple of new screws in there and also just tightening up the other hardware. The other railings are a little bit loose. Also, our locker hardware is starting to come out, rattle loose. This here is completely detached. This one here is loose, and as you can see, they all just need to be tightened up. So I'm just here doing some small tasks and preventative maintenance and also some cleanup. So let me show you what we got here in the engine compartment. Here's where the fuel tank would normally sit. Right now it's out on the top. And just some general cleanup. This is wood chunks that have been here since who knows when, and I want to get all this space cleaned up at some point or another. Back here you can see where the railing bolts would normally be. They have popped out, and I'm hoping it's not too hard of a fix to put those back in. So let me get working on that, and I will have other clips. As I had hoped, the railing is a rather simple fix. I just need to put a few bolts through it. They're not huge bolts. I should have a pack of bolts that should work for that. And this time I want to load it up with washers and lock washers to prevent it from unscrewing itself with the vibrations of the outboard engine as it did last time. I would like to try something. I want to, in order to improve the video quality that you are receiving, I will attempt to not use my head-mounted GoPro in hopes that it will get better video, diversify the video a little bit. And I know that a few comments in the previous videos have mentioned expanding from the head-mounted camera, so let's see how that turns out. Here I have my standard toolkit, which has a lot more tools in it than I probably need, but you can never really have too many. Here is nuts and washers, which I will be using today, and also a variety of bolts, which I'm seeing now. It appears as though these bolts will work just fine to secure that railing back to the stern again. I was wrong before. I thought that these kits had lock washers in them, but apparently they only have washers. That is something that I will most definitely need to fix, because I do not want these screws rattling out as the previous ones did, so I'm going to have to fix that. As an added challenge, as I mentioned before, I will attempt to use a variety of cameras to get the proper angle for a shot. I know the GoPro has a much wider view than is sometimes necessary, so in this particular case I'm using my iPhone. Here's my temporary solution for the stern railing, a nut with 2 washers and a bolt. I will eventually replace this lower washer with a lock washer once I acquire them. So what I have done is I actually did not use the outer washers that I had intended on using because the screw holes on the railing piece are countersunk. So the panhead screws fit into it quite nicely. I know that I really should be using countersunk screws in a countersunk hole, but these work very nicely, and this is more of a temporary fix for now. Something that I just noticed that has me extremely concerned, if you'll look at that angle of video, you can see the stern is pushed in where the engine mount is. And there are some tiny ripples in the paint, like compression ripples. That has me extremely concerned now about the state of the stern. I think that my previous video clip stating that I would cut out this entire section and fiberglass in a solid chunk of wood, now seeing this flex is probably the best idea, and that probably needs to happen sooner than I was expecting. Okay, so as you can see, I have placed a steel angled bar across the back of the stern and secured it with 2 clamps. I tightened them up incrementally to the point where the steel bar is bent to fit the contour of the stern. Hopefully this will add enough support to the stern to keep it from damaging anymore, cracking anymore, until I can get this cut off and repaired. Thankfully though, it's looking like everywhere that I need to repair is above the water line, so it would actually be possible to repair this while it's on the water. That is good news. So now I'm just going to replace a few bits of hardware on the lockers primarily, and I'll let you watch that. One locker door, done.
This shot is right at the end of the day, and I decide to mount the teak cover for the electrical wiring back onto the wall.
I've come down to the boat today to take some measurements of the stern, and that way I know how much wood I need, what size of wood that I need. I'm going to use 3/4 inch thick plywood, 2 sheets laminated together, and that should be thick enough and strong enough to repair the stern. So I'm just down here taking some measurements on the approximate shape, and I will do the final touches right before I actually put the stern in. And today is very windy on the lake. Here in the marina, it's a little bit rocky, but you can't really tell the wind speed. That's what a marina is supposed to be for. But before I leave the marina today, I'll take you over to the lakeside and show you the water and the wind that is kicking across the lake. It's forecasted to be 15 to 25 miles an hour, and at my skill level, I can't be out in that. So maintenance on the boat today, and we're hoping to get out on the boat tomorrow. So let's get started with the measurements. Okay, so my measurements are now done. I have a rough drawn schematic of what I need to make in order to replace the stern. So I will now walk you over and show you the lake side of the marina and how bad the wind is blowing. So come along for the ride.